You are a man of great heart.
Sometimes, when I have the time. Come, let us go to the pagoda of Pillaji.
In just a moment, we'll return to the second act of Around the World in 80 Days, starring Ronald Colman. Have you ever thought of this unique fact about the greeting cards you buy? When you buy greeting cards, they are never for yourself. You buy them only for others. That is why greeting cards are always selected with such care. People naturally want the finest for their friends. And I am sure if you will ask any group of your friends, as I have, what name they think of in greeting cards when they want to send the very best, they will answer immediately, Hallmark cards. For people have found that Hallmark cards reflect their own good taste. They've learned from experience that there is always a Hallmark card to say just what you want to say, the way you want to say it. Whether you want to send warmest greetings to old friends who have moved away, or a cheery hello to someone in the hospital, for every occasion you find a Hallmark card so right you feel a glow of satisfaction when you choose it. So it is easy to remember. It would be difficult to forget. To look for that hallmark on the back of every card you choose, when you care enough to send the very best.
And now here is the second act of Around the World in 80 Days, starring Ronald Colman.
We tethered the elephant a safe distance away from the pagoda of Pillaji. I then borrowed the turban and robe of the Parsi, and while it was still dark, I made my way out along the limb of a tree, and then dropped down onto the funeral pyre. I was hoping that in the darkness they would take me for the corpse. The Brahmins were all in the temple, and the sky had only just begun to lighten when they brought the unconscious girl to the pyre and placed her beside me. As soon as they touched their torches to the wood and the flames blazed up on all sides, I picked up the girl and descended. The watching mob cried out in terror and prostrated themselves before me. I walked slowly between them, 300 steps, 500 steps, 900 steps, and then I was in the woods. I placed the girl in one howdah and jumped into the other, while Passepartout mounted the elephant's back, and we then lumbered away from the pagoda of Pillaji. We reached the station at Allahabad at 10:21 and a half. I presented the elephant to the Parsi, who had served me well.
Oh, Sahib, you have given me my livelihood for the rest of my days. My thanks will follow you as long as I live. Oh, the girl is recovering consciousness. Master, what do you mean to do with her?
Well, I hadn't really thought about that. Why?
If you leave her in India, she will be captured again and put to death.
Well, then, I shall not leave her in India.
A shame she does not speak English or French.
But I do speak English. I was educated in England. I lived there until my parents ordered me to come home to marry the Rajah.
Where are your parents now?
My parents are dead.
Have you any people at all?
I have a brother in England.
Well, then, my duty is clear. I will take you to your brother in England. We arrived in Calcutta at 7 a.m., promptly upon the hour. The packet for Hong Kong left at noon, and we boarded her at once. Since Hong Kong was the last British port on my route, I was not surprised to see Mr. Fix upon the dock when we left the ship. Good morning, Mr. Fix. Did your warrant arrive?
No, it didn't. I hope you intend to remain here a few days.
Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, my dear fellow, but we hope to leave for Yokohama practically at once.
There aren't any ships to Yokohama for a week.
No ship for a week. Monsieur Fogg, we are lost.
Oh, ridiculous. Come, Passepartout. Come, Aouda. My good fellow, would you be so kind as to give me a moment of your time?
What is it?
I am looking for a boat to take me to Yokohama.
Well, I have a pilot boat, Your Honor, but she's not big enough for a sea voyage.
I must get to Yokohama by the 14th at the latest to take the boat for San Francisco. I'll give you 100 pounds a day and an additional reward of 200 pounds if I make that ship.
Well, there is one way we might arrange it. I could take you to Shanghai. The San Francisco steamer starts from there on the 11th. With good luck and a southwest wind, we could make it.
Very well, you are hired.
Did you find a ship?
I am hiring one, thank you. We sail within the hour.
I suppose it'd be asking too much to ask you to take me on as a passenger.
Not at all. Join us, if you like.
Monsieur Fogg, he will arrest you as soon as he gets his warrant.
He can only arrest me on British soil, and by the time I reach British soil again, I shall have won my wager. And I have the greatest respect for any Englishman who is trying to do his duty. Aouda, what are you doing up here on deck in this storm?
I love it.
You should be below where it's safe. You might be washed overboard.
I am holding on. If the ship capsizes, I would rather be on deck.
Well, very well. Suit yourself.
Mr. Fogg, have you ever loved anyone?
What was that? What did you say?
I said, have you ever loved anyone?
Certainly. I was devoted to my mother and father.
And your wife?
My dear young woman, I have no wife.
Did she die?
I never had a wife.
No wife? Was there never any woman that you cared for?
I was once engaged to a young woman for precisely 6 weeks and 2 days.
What happened?
She was late for an appointment. I can't abide tardiness in anyone.
You must be very lonely, Mr. Fogg.
Why do you say that?
It must be very lonely to be the only perfect human being among so many imperfect creatures. If you will excuse me, I think I will go below.
Dear, dear, poor girl, obviously seasick. I remained on deck through the rest of the night, and now and then I thought of Aouda, how she had looked with the wind and the salt spray blowing about her. I thought of the things she had said, and once I thought of her eyes, and once of her lips. And for a fleeting moment I found myself thinking, this is the woman of whom all men dream. On the morning of November the 11th at 9:49, we arrived at Shanghai. Passepartout, Aouda, Mr. Fix, and I boarded the American steamer, the General Grant, bound for San Francisco. On the 23rd of November, at 12 noon, we passed the 180th meridian. And on the 3rd of December, we entered the Bay of the Golden Gates. By early afternoon, we were on our way across America, past the fields of buffalo, the rugged, majestic homes of the mountain eagle, the well-worn paths of Indians and covered wagons. One ocean was behind us, another ahead of us, and beyond that, victory. But when the train stopped in the New York station before the pier of the Cunard line, it was 1 hour and 35 minutes late. And the ship I had counted on taking, the China, had sailed for Liverpool 3/4 of an hour before. I found there was no other ship sailing of sufficient speed to get me there in time, but I was directed to a trading vessel in the harbor that was bound for Bordeaux. I went and had a talk with her captain. You are the captain of the Henrietta?
I am. Andrew Speedy of Cardiff.
I am Phileas Fogg of London. You are going to put to sea?
In an hour. Bound for Bordeaux. No freight going in ballast.
Have you any passengers?
Never have passengers. Too much in the way.
Or will you carry me and 3 other persons to Liverpool?
No, I'm setting out for Bordeaux, and I'm going to Bordeaux.
Oh, very well. Will you take us to Bordeaux, then? I'll give you $2,000 apiece for the 4 of us.
I start at 9 o'clock.
We shall be on board at 9 o'clock. Passepartout, here's something I want you to do. Talk to the crew as soon as the ship gets underway. Promise them whatever money you must. Tell them I want them to lock up Captain Speedy in his cabin and then to help me sail this ship to Liverpool.
Why, Monsieur Fogg, I did not think you had it in you. Who is going to captain?